Yeah, I'm about to start the YouTube stream. And we are live on YouTube. Okay, so we have 32 seconds to come in. Forgive me, how do I pronounce your surname? Akinnadeju.
That's fine. Akinnadeju is fine.
All right, thank you. Smooth 98.1. I love music, love life. You just listen to What Can I Do by Dayon, and it features Andy Delos Santos. This is Breakfast in Bed. My name is Oluwaseun, and you're very welcome to join the conversation we are about to have in the Soul Food segment. I have asked you the question of the morning, which is herbal medicines and potions. Which one do you prefer between herbal medicines and potions or drugs? And what are your reasons? And I've got quite the number of answers and responses via calls and messages. So thank you to everybody who called in and sent in a message. Lastly, let me take this one before we go into the conversation. Charles Chidozie says, I prefer drugs because they have dosage control. But with the herbal remedies, there is really no way to measure your dosage. It's just a gamble of how much more can work. We'll definitely talk about that. And joining me this morning to have this conversation on herbal medicines and potions, what you should be concerned about or what you should know, is my guest, pharmacist Peter Akinnadeju. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Oluwaseun. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining me
out there.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes. Thank you. I understand you had something planned out for this morning, but yes, you gave me the time. I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's fine. I'm happy to be here this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, you already know what to do. Again, the number to dial is 01-448-9981. Again, 01-448-9981. WhatsApp messages go to 0809-444-0981. We are live on YouTube, so please join us on YouTube to check out everything that is going on in the studio and also to see our faces. Go to YouTube and search for at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Again, at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. There you get to see everything going on in the studio. And of course, you get to save it in case you want to catch up on the conversation later on. If you have a message, you can drop it also in the YouTube live chat option, and I'll take it. Now, that being said, pharmacist Peter, let's start with the definition. I like to start with the basics, especially for somebody who has no idea or how to define the technical terms. How do you define, if there is a definition, herbal medicines?
Okay, thank you. Basically, herbal medicine is the use of plant extracts to manage and treat disease and ailment. And herbal medicine in memorial, people have resorted in using herbal medicine to manage and treat disease. So basically, that's the definition for that. Use of plant extracts to manage and treat ailment and diseases. Okay. And it comes in different forms, powder or potions, liquids, syrups, different forms. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So earlier I had a couple of calls and some takes on it. And one, I think Mr. Diwali said Africans or Asians, when it concerns the use of alternative medicine generally, Asians actually are one of the people that they rarely use drugs, but then they take a lot of herbal medicines. Basically, alternative medicine is one of their forte. And yes, that the World Health Organization actually alludes to that fact. And they said that 80% of the population of some Asian and also African countries presently use herbal medicine for some aspect of primary health care. And also, it is known that some drugs have their root in herbal medicines, or at least they have natural ingredients extracted from these herbal medicines and potions as very key components. Now, that said, what is the difference between drugs that we take, over-the-counter drugs, prescription drugs, whatever it is, and the herbal medicines and potions?
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, that's very true. For example, the drug artemisinin was discovered isolated from the bark of the sweet wormwood Artemisia annua, right, which has been a mainstay in the treatment of malaria. That's very fine. We have drugs like quinine discovered from chinkuna bark. We have drugs
Oh, not network today. Mm-mm. Can you hear me? Nah.
discovered from digitalis leaf. Digital is the process of standardization, right? If I'm taking,
Okay,
yeah, I can hear
yeah,
you.
I
Yeah, I can
didn't
hear
hear
you.
you for
I
a
can hear you.
repeat. I didn't hear you for a repeat. I
Hello?
think the network was dragging. So can you say that again? You stopped on artemisinin and quinine. Now this is the part I do not like about technology, because this conversation is very, very hot and I need us to have it. All right, so just, are you back now?
Yeah, I'm
Hello, can
back.
you hear me?
Can you hear me? I'm back.
Yes,
Yes,
clearly.
I can hear
Please, let's
you.
stay with this one. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So I said the difference in being sold over the counter has been standardized, has gone through different tests, has gone through preclinical testing, has gone through different stages of clinical trial, right, to ascertain the purity, the quality of what you are taking, and also the likely side effect of which with herbal medicine you can ascertain that, right? You are having a sickness, somebody just say, okay, take 1 cup. 1 cup is relative, right? 1 cup to somebody can be 1 bowl to another person. So, and you don't have a dosage regimen, right? You don't have an established side effect. You don't have the standard dose. Like, for example, drugs like paracetamol, the maximum daily dose is 4 grams, right? So you know that if you're taking up to 6 or 8 tablets of paracetamol, you will be doing your liver a great damage. So with this, with the conventional medicines, that is established. While with herbal medicine, you can't ascertain that. So this is one of the clear difference between herbal medicine and conventional medicine. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking more about herbal medicines and potions. Particularly, the point you just laid out. You said the dosage may not be able to, you may not confirm, or you do not have an idea of the dosage you're taking in. But then, what about those who
Yeah.
have been trained in this practice? I would like to know more about that. This is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. 98.1. Is your audio good now?
Yeah, good.
You need it to stay good, please, please, please.
3,099 naira 99 kobo, and Kellogg's 400 gram Moon Stars Cocoa Pops at 999 naira 99 kobo only. All prices valid till the 8th of August 2021. Shop right, low prices you can trust always. In the world of books and literature, Smooth 98.1 presents to you the very best of African authors.
My name is Chinon Achebe.
The Smooth Book Review.
How things changed when I discovered African books.
Step into the minds of great storytellers and get lost in a good book.
I went through a mental shift in my perception of literature.
It's 1 hour of inspired literature on the Smooth Book Review. Every Saturday from 10 a.m.
I don't think one ever completely stops writing. Composing. You never stop writing.
And I am sure that if you have listened to any episode of the book review on Smooth 98.1, you will never stop listening. So, yes, you can join Judith at TB by 10 a.m. this morning so that you get to listen to a book review if you're a lover of African literature. Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun, and you're tuning into this Breakfast in Bed. And the topic, or rather what we've been discussing about, is herbal medicines and potions. My guest is pharmacist Peter Akinnadeju. Now, before we took that quick break, I was asking you about, or I said I would ask you actually. Some people are licensed to practice this herbal medicines, to produce them, alternative medicine basically here in Nigeria. So, do you have an idea of the process involved and the things that are required of them? Because dosage is a big problem. Again, we cannot take that out. Over time, it has been said that improper use of herbal medicines and potions is contributing highly to kidney diseases.
Yeah, you're right. Acute kidney injury. Yeah, you're right.
So, do you have an idea of how these people who are licensed to practice herbal alternative medicine is it similar to what you go through as a pharmacist here in Nigeria?
No, not at all. For one, I spent 6 years in school. Because I came from University of Benin and came out with the Pharm degree, right? It can't be the same in the sense that we are exposed to different aspects of the training, right? Pharmacognosy is one of them. Pharmacognosy actually is the part in pharmacy that deals with phytomedicines, herbal medicine, whereby you extract drugs, you test them on experimental rats to determine the safety, the dosage, and all that. They are different. There's a wide gap between what they do and what we do, right? Because we use technology, right, to determine what this drug will be doing in the body. But there is a board. I think it's a welcome development. I know that definitely they will actually get there. In Lagos State, for example, we have the Lagos State Board of Traditional Medicine, whereby these things are being discussed. But it can't be like what I went through in school, right? Because when you talk about conventional medicines, what they do, there's still need for more training, right? In terms of the purity, in terms of the process of preparation of their herbal potions, in terms of storage, very important. You see, when you walk into a pharmacy, you see that some drugs are stored in amber bottles. There are drugs that when you keep going, keep them about inside the sun, they are photolabile. When you expose them to sun, the potency, the efficacy reduces. But with the conventional medicine, that is not in place. Also, all this has been ascertained. What they do and what we do are different. But I believe that will be need for collaborations, whereby further training, like what the medical doctor, the nurses, they do with traditional birth attendants, right? Teaching them on what to do and helping them to know the limit where they need to escalate in an emergency situation. So it can't be the same. It can't be the same.
Yeah, I asked that obvious question because it's debatable. Now, I know that they do not go through the same training like you went through. I mean, 6 years, and if you're unlucky in Nigeria, that 6 years can turn into 8 years because of strikes and every other thing in between. And then, of course, you go through the internship and many other things. Now, compared to what we have with the alternative medicine, usually they are practiced by people of the older generation, and what they have maybe undocumented notes, experiences, trials and error, and different things like that. Basically, it's like a like an oral tradition that was passed from one generation to the other.
Yeah.
But one thing is this: you mentioned it when you were talking about having a board of herbal medicine practitioners in Lagos, and you talked about collaboration. We cannot deny that these things work, right?
Yeah. But medicine is evidence-based, right? And if you see, when you take a bottle of supplements, what they use the word may is a statement of probability. Okay, let's say this drug help you with your mood, help you with menstrual disorder. They'll put the word may, and if you look at the back of it, you'll see something like this claim have not been established by the Food and Drug Administration in US and in Nigeria, has not been evaluated by, fine, some of these things work, but we need to know which one is working, right? Bringing 2 or 3 apps together, there is the risk of interactions, right? Like in conventional medicine, if you're taking some antibiotics, we advise don't take with milk, don't take with blood tonic, don't take with antacid, because these things, they slow the absorption of this drug in the system. But with herbal medicine, you don't know which one is which, right? So these are concerns that we have, very grave concerns that we have. Thank you.
Yeah, but you know something. We have lots of those drugs, lot of those leaves and roots and barks, and a lot of them here in Africa. And I believe some of them have been exported or maybe stolen to make some drugs. Yeah, to make some drugs in the European countries or America and other parts of the world. Here in Nigeria, how can we actually fast track the development of drugs, since you say they have to go through processing, they have to go through evidence? Sometimes I feel like science can be slow and limiting, and we take this thing. Now that was one of the things I was saying, that we're not trying to demonize about medicines and potions, but we just want to give the best option. I took some of these things while I was growing up. Of course, the fact that they are natural sources of nutrients, alongside maybe they prefer remedy to some illness or diseases. These things, they work, but how can we fast track the development or the standardization of these things in Africa? Do we need more people, more science-based people studying alternative medicine, exploring it?
Well, okay. Before I answer that, I want people to know that it is natural doesn't mean it is safe.
Yeah,
that's very so. Yeah, so it is natural doesn't mean it's safe. Fine. We don't need, not that we need more, but what we need is funding. Let me put it this way. There is an institute, the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Research and Development in Abuja, NIPRID, and they are doing pretty well. But because their activities are being hampered by lack of funding, right? And it's a crime. This same NIPRID, they came up with an anti-stickling drug developed from herbal medicine that helps to relieve the burden of sickle cell anemia. But because of lack of funding, that drug is just there, right? And the CEO, the leader was lamenting recently that they need funding, that less than 0.04% of our GDP is being diverted or is being allocated for research. In this part of the world, in Nigeria, for example, research is very poor. So we have the technical know-how, but they need funding, right? Because everything works on the wheels of development and technology. They are doing pretty well. You can go online and read about what they do, but it's just so sad, right? So there's a need for that. So if there is more funding, look at our universities. We have professors, we have people that do pretty well. Go to some of these faculties of pharmacy, UniBen, UniJones, IFE, OAU. They have good equipment but they need funding. So I think we need to change our orientation towards that. The people cannot do it. If the government can come with collaborations to attract private investors, right? I believe because Africa, we are so rich in about medicine, we are so rich in the biodiversity is there, right? But we need to make, and if you put effort to this, it will make drugs cheaper, more accessible, right? Look at the cost of importing drugs, like this current issue of forex exchange and everything. The end consumer will bear the brunt. But if you develop all these things locally, we go through the scientific testing and everything, it's cost effective for us. So this is the way that we should look forward. Nobody is demonizing herbal medicine. It's good, it's fine, but the science aspect has to be at par. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for putting a balance to that. So it's not a lack of manpower, it's a lack of funding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope somebody, at least one person is in government, is listening to this, because there are a lot of things lying or things that we are allowing go to waste. I mean, sometimes on social media, you see a person come up with a very genius idea, and right there in the comment section, you see them saying, oh, well, this one is going to go to waste because the government doesn't really care. So maybe it's time for the government to just prove people wrong and step up to the plate. provide funds for the things that are needed. Research is, yes, we're lagging behind in that aspect. So if you want to contribute to this conversation, if you have a question or something you'd like to say, you can do that. The number to dial is 01448 9981. Again, 01448 9981. Your WhatsApp message should go to 0809 444 0981. Again, 0809 444 0981. So one of the reasons we're talking about herbal medicines and potion this morning is because of the way it has been used indiscriminately and people do not have an idea of what they're even taking. So I saw a study, a research that was actually done in Lagos. The respondents were in Lagos and they decided to ask people the reason they use herbal medicines and potions. And guess the number one reason on the table? No specific reason. That's the reason we use. So a lot of people, in fact, the 25.9% of the people involved in that study said they take herbal medicines and potions for no specific reason at all. They just take it because they want to take it. Now, number two on that list is malaria. People say they take herbal medicines and potions for malaria. And it turns out that a good chunk of that people say they treat malaria before it happens. I actually don't understand what that means. Do you have an idea? How do you treat malaria before malaria comes? Are you trying to surprise it? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. So in your interaction with people, patients, I don't understand what that means. How do you treat malaria before malaria comes on?
Malaria is a condition that is overdiagnosed in Nigeria, right? Any little thing,
Put
malaria,
typhoid, put typhoid in that mix.
they are like twin brothers. If you have malaria, you must have typhoid. And even the gold standard of diagnosis for typhoid is not even the normal wider test we do. The world has moved on from that. That's what we call the stool antigen test, whereby your stool will be taken, cultured, then the constitutive organism are isolated and identified. But it's so funny because the health-seeking behavior in Nigeria is funny. And at our own level, we try to encourage people, right? Somebody is feeling tired, is malaria. Why not take out time to rest? Everybody will understand the stress and everything. And most of the time, you find out that after resting, maybe just take a pain reliever, they are fine, right? So it's something that is worrisome. Is worrisome in Nigeria. Malaria is not. If you see typhoid, you can't even stand. If you see typhoid, you won't be able to walk into the pharmacy to ask for a typhoid medicine. But because it's just the mouth-to-mouth referrals that I use this, it worked for me, so I want to. You recommend to your friend. It doesn't. Therapy is individualistic, right? Yeah. So we just need to keep encouraging and keep talking, and also pointing to the fact that malaria is endemic in Nigeria, right? In the average room, you see mosquito and everything. So people feel that once I'm being bitten by a mosquito, I must have malaria. No, that should not be. That should not be. But at least just put in effort to prevent mosquito bites, use of long-lasting insecticide-treated nets, or insecticide and all that. So I hope with right public enlightenment like this, people will definitely have a behavioral change towards that.
All right, thank you. We're not done with that table yet because according to that table from the study, one of the reasons people take herbal medicines and potions is strength gain. And I'm sure you can relate to that, especially if you're in Lagos. We have the likes of Opaini, those things that people take to be strong, and let's not even cross over to the ones that people make for themselves as aphrodisiacs, to boost sexual strength and libido.
Yeah.
So the question is, first, do these things work? Do they actually work, or is just a chance for them to consume alcohol? Because I understand to a large extent, alcohol is a solvent used for those things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I won't say they work because that is what we call, the mind is very powerful, right? There's a way you can conjure your mind to make you believe that once you take this will work for you, right? Some of these herbal medicines, the potion you see around, they do mix them with conventional medicines. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So they dissolve them?
Yes, like we've had example of people dissolving or grinding diclofenac tablet, this herbal medicine. So you are feeling tired. So you can see, I'm telling you the truth, honestly. Some they will dissolve antibiotics in all some of these things. So you take it for some time and you feel better. For example, you take diclofenac, you're feeling tired, or you say, okay, please give me 1 cup. You take that, you feel better. You say, wow, I'm good. And mind you, diclofenac should not be used in patients that have ulcer. It will worsen the ulcer. There's some drugs that you can't, these are concerns. These are concerns that actually that herbal medicine, the preparation was studied, and diclofenac was identified that okay, this is what this. So these are concerns. It's just that feeling, that societal feeling about it. When you are with your guys, with your people, you are taking something, you feel like I just want to take. That's another way in which they abuse alcohol, right? Because you have to use alcohol to. So it's just, I believe, it's a thing of the mind that okay, this thing will work for me. That's what we call a placebo effect. You're just taking
Yes.
something that without the active ingredient there, you feel like so the mind, I think it's just the power of the mind at play there. Just the power of the mind. And that the mix that it is working doesn't mean it will keep working. And that it works for you doesn't mean it will work for other persons. So that's why people have to be very careful. People are going with so many disease conditions in their body, and you are still adding to it. Because like when you go to the hospital or to the pharmacy, the person there will ask you questions to help you know whether the interaction, whether the condition that you should not take. Because we have to talk about the risk of drug interaction, food drug interaction, herbs drug interaction. Right? There's some herbal medicines, for example, like St. John's wort, used in treating depression and all that. There's some drug that you should not use it with, but you won't know. Yeah, so these are the limitations of herbal medicines. And that's why we keep telling people about the safety and all that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't know that part actually. It's like a very mind-blowing discovery that these people actually put normal drugs into
Yeah,
the herbal
yeah,
stuff that they sell.
yeah, yeah. Some do.
So please be mindful of where you buy your herbal medicines and potions from, especially if you're not making it yourself. Let's take another quick breather, and when we come back, we'll continue with this conversation. It is Smooth 98.1.
98.1. Love music, love life. 1xBet makes betting easier.
I swear that's so mind blowing. I had no idea.
No, I even thought it was, I've had that, and I even went online. I read stuff like that. I read stuff like that. It's crazy out there. And I would like also to talk on the preparation because, especially at the parks, a lot of things are going on. There was a viral video of a food seller recently that was using gutter water to wash the food he was selling. I don't know whether you saw that video.
Yeah, we could. So when we come back, you talk about that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Love life.
Love Smooth 90.1.
Music. This is
There is a good kind of high, and that's the high you get from listening to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. Thank you for staying tuned. This is Breakfast in Bed. My name is Oluwaseun, and we have been discussing herbal medicines and potions with pharmacist Peter Akinnadeju. Now, if you have your question, you have your comment, you have your disapproval that you want to register, or you have your observation, it is totally welcome. Call in 01 or call into the number 01-448-9981. Again, 01-448-9981. And then send your WhatsApp message to 0809-444-0981. Again, 0809-444-0981. So while we were on that break for Mrs. Peter, you were saying something about the preparation. Oh, hold that thought. Let me take this call. Hello, good morning. Hi, what's your name? Sunday from Ikorodu. What would you like to say?
I've been kind of curious to ask some questions about herbal medicine. And like your guest talked about the efficacy of those drugs. But sometimes if we use those medicine, that's herbal medicine, and then you feel very, very okay. And sometimes compared to what your experience is when you use the normal drugs. So is it saying that we are to we're supposed to be discouraged from using herbal medicine? That's what just I want to get to understand.
All right, thank you. I'm sure, yeah, he will answer to that. Thank you for calling Sunday. All right, so what do you say?
Well, I'm not discouraged, and I won't discourage because, well, I'm just saying the health-seeking behavior. The first point of call when you have any issue should be the hospital, right? Or maybe for minor illness, the pharmacy. That you take that and it works for you at that first instance. Okay, let's look at it this way. What is the severity? You can't even assess the severity, right? It's just like somebody having malaria. Malaria is a level. You have the uncomplicated malaria, we have severe malaria, you have cerebral malaria. Let's say you have severe malaria, for example, you go to a herbal seller, a medicine seller, he or she gives you a concoction, you are okay with it. You subsidize the symptom, you reduce the symptom, but doesn't mean there is total clearance of the parasite in your body, right? And when the malaria is coming full blown. And that's when we talk about antimicrobial resistance and all that. So when you don't, or with conventional medicine, it's curative. It clears. So that's when you go for test. When you go for test or the malaria test, they come, so you say trophocyte plus, some plus. So if you have plus and you just take herbal medicine, you have not cured malaria. So the next time you say, I'm feeling malaria, I'm feeling dizzy, I'm feeling weak, I'm feeling that. So these are the limitations. It can't assess the severity. Or like when you go for conventional medicine, you tell you can go and do a test. Okay, your blood sugar level is this. But with herbal medicine, you won't know that. I don't know whether you get my point. So it's a balance. So I'm trying to look from both sides. I'm not saying herbal medicines don't work, fine, they work, but there's a limit to where they can get you to. And there's some disease that don't even try herbal medicine. Let's say for cancer, don't even say you want to use herbal medicine for cancer. There's scourge of cancer in Nigeria, right? I know how cancer is, it proliferates, it metastasizes to other parts of the body. So why go gambling with your life when you have what should work for you? I'm not disputing that fact that they work, but I'm feeling and I think the right thing should be done. Thank you.
Okay, I have another call coming in. Hello, good morning. Hi, what's your name? Rotimi. Okay, where are you calling from? Please, do you have a question? All right, please go ahead.
Being that I come from the background of some myriad of illness, I think I have a little bit of, I'm not a medical person, but at least I have a little bit of how this is for. And one thing I've established over the years is that a lot of illnesses are psychosomatic. What that means is it has to do with the mind, it has to do with the belief system. I'm sure the Pharm would agree with me that he's aware that a lot of research has gone into the fact that a lot of illnesses emanate, first of all, from the mind. So you manifest the body. So a lot of reason why these unconventional medicines are gaining traction is because the people's belief system changed with. I've been in situations where people have used conventional medicine for decades long, and their illnesses with their hands. One visit to traditional medicine place and they are whole again. So probably, personally, I don't believe in it. I've had trials that conventional medicine have always come to my rescue when it fails, when I even bother to try it. So perhaps maybe my question of contribution to the Pharm would be that one cannot totally disregard the efficacy of this thing. It is unregulated, if the claims are unsubstantiated and whatnot. But then again, the both these two medical spheres have to find a way to find some common ground because, like I said, you can't totally disregard the fact that some of these things do work. And if the two spheres can work in unison, who knows what will come out of it? There is a lot of unfounded evidence that most of these conventional drugs we use actually come from these plants and trees and whatnot. So if that's actually the fact of the issue, then there must be a way that the two spheres can work in unison to find some lasting cures to some of these illnesses that have been plaguing the world for decades. So I don't know if that's the question.
Yes, thank you so much. That was actually very valuable. Thank you. All right, bye. Yeah, did you get that?
Yeah, I got I mentioned something like that earlier on
Yeah,
that
collaboration.
and also the mind aspect also. Yeah, you can't take it out because they're also very key in ensuring universal health coverage. 80% of Nigerians access urban medicine, especially in the rural areas and even in some part of places in Lagos. Right. I think, like I said earlier, the issue with that is standardization. And I talk about collaboration too. Standardization has to do with identifying the active compound, the quality, the purity, and all that. So it's all over the world. Even before the traditional medicine in China came to stay and became so popular like this, it has been, and recently, I think it was, yes, 2019, the traditional complementary medicine in China has been adopted in the ICD. The ICD is just like the global diagnostic compendium for different level of different types of disease. And because they've come to realize the importance of what is, you can't take them out. But there's a, like the caller said, there's a need for collaboration, and everybody just has to come on board
Yeah,
to
that's
adopt
very
that.
yeah, because like you mentioned earlier, we have a lot of these resources. I call them resources that are lying around. And then you
Yeah.
also raise a very valid point that funding, the government should come to the rescue because we have the manpower, we have the knowledge, we have the enthusiasm, if I checked, or last time I checked, but we do not have funding. So please, those that are in charge of this should step up to the plate and let me not say what I'm about to say. If you want to contribute to the conversation, the number to dial is 01-448-9981. Hello. Good morning. What's your name? Jonathan from Mirakari. Thank you for calling. What do you have to say? Mm-hmm.
Is it abused in Nigeria? I would say yes. And I also don't believe that most of the sickness comes from the mind. That people is what people think. They eventually emanate in their body. I disagree. For me, if you're sick, you're sick. Because come to think about it. If you go to the rural areas where they don't have access to healthcare facilities. They actually use the herbal medicine, and it works for them. And I remember when I was a little child, when we were growing up, sometimes when we were sick, I used to put yogoyaro and all these things together. We just sit down and the pot is open, we cover it, and you feel relief. You eventually you're okay. I've taken Agbo a lot of times and it works. So, but the problem is that it's abused in Nigeria, but it works. And if you go to countries like China and most Asian countries, they use herbal medicine and it works for them. So what I think is it should be encouraged, but it should be regularized. There should be proper way of doing it or producing it so that it's not abused. But I sincerely believe it works. That's my own opinion.
Thank you very much for calling. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Actually, I think to a large extent, we all agree on the fact that it works. The pharmacist agree, or he agrees. I agree. A number of people agree. But we are saying there are other things that are involved. We have standardization. We have these things have to go through clinical trials. And that brings me to the message from Charles Chidozie, who says, one of the problems I have with some of these herbal mixtures is the marketers tend to present them to have the ability to cure all sorts of illnesses. Then my thought usually is, why then do we have specialist doctors if just one mixture can cure all sicknesses?
Gbogbo níṣe.
That actually is one of the problems we have. That is a problem. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, it's worrisome because every nook and cranny in Lagos, you get to inside the bus, on the streets, people. I think that regulation is very key, right? People need to be very careful of because you are misleading the public, and I believe there should be punitive measures if we are being serious, right? Because people are just doing trial and error when you claim, or Nigerian likes tease a lot. Tease, things that flush out the system when you're not in the toilet. People just believe that okay, when you take a herbal medicine and you go to toilet, it's working. I say I feel so free. I feel so free. That's why that yes, there are actually some person, that you can be from two things. There are some person that they mix laxatives, some of these agbo. So when you take it, it purges you, you feel so free. Yeah. And also it can be due to microbial attack. I said I will say something about preservation, about preparation and everything. Because they don't have preservative for a drug, let's say for paracetamol. Okay, manufactured 2020, expires 2023. You can put a date to that. Yeah, but for herbal medicine, you don't even know the expiry date. You just take as you like. So is regulation has to come in, and I think there should be some control also. There should be areas where people can't go about marketing because also they are daily asking for the urgent 2K, right? Yeah, we can't take you can't take that out, but you just need to put things properly and educate. Education is very key and very important, and also an average person should be to ask questions when somebody says this thing can cause this, it can cause gonorrhea, it can cause hypertension, it can cause, ask him what are your claims. You see what the person. So sometimes when you put it to them, I think they have to go back into that share. Thank you.
Yeah, that actually again is a very valid one because you go to parks, maybe you're on your way, you're in transit in Lagos, you're hearing different things. One single mixture can cure. In fact, it will touch your family, it will clear your destiny, it will put money in your bank. Why? Why? And it just makes no sense at all. So you have to be careful where you're getting those things from, especially who's making it. We said we'll talk a bit about the preservation and the what's it called now, the production of these things. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we should actually talk about the role of NAFDAC in standardizing, in checking out these people, because these people who peddle those drugs and mixtures are on the street of Lagos with their full chest. Some of them actually have NAFDAC number. However, did they really obtain it? Was NAFDAC really involved in the manufacturing process, or did they just manufacture it themselves? But maybe they just put the number on it by themselves. And if not, how does NAFDAC come into play? How do they clamp down on these people? Because these things are affecting the population. Some of this effects may not be seen now, but what happens in the next 5 years or 10 years? We're having an increase in kidney diseases. More people are doing GoFundMe for surgery and all of that. They are worrisome. They are things to be talked about. So yes, we're still in this conversation. We'll take a break now, and when we come back, we'll take the final leg of this conversation.
Are you considering studying in the UK? Join Coventry University in 2021 to enhance your career prospects. Speak to Coventry University staff at our free event.
It's exhausting. So when we come back, we'll just wrap up.
Is that what?
I said when we come back, is the final leg.
Okay, that's fine.
What is the Lagos like? Lagos is my New York. It's a big city. Lagos is like my Lagos is made up of the new side. Lagos is my people. People walking to
one direction.
And there's so much character. The crazy drivers, the crazy driving, the sun, the fun, and so much soul.
Greatest city in the world. It's a city where dreams are made. A lot of opportunity.
My traffic. Okada riding. Oh Lord, I love the traffic, the sarcasm in my voice. Seeing people fighting on the street.
But with that being said, Lagos is the city that pays me.
Lagos, through your eyes, here on Smooth 98.1. Metro Life, Saturdays from 12 p.m. Vibrant, so like energetic and ready to go. What else?
Yes, actually, we cannot deny it. If you're a Lagos resident, there is nowhere like Lagos. The good, the bad, the ugly. Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. This is Breakfast in Bed, just in case you're tuning in for the first time. And we are talking about herbal medicines and potions versus the drugs. And my guest is pharmacist Peter Akinnadeju. Now, before going on the break, I did lay out some of the concerns I have concerning standardization and regulation. And I talked about NAFDAC. So I went on their page to check out some of the process that should be gone through when a person wants to register a herbal medicine or a drug, something related to that. And I saw quite the paperwork that needs to be done. And I know some of these people who are involved in this alternative medicine practice will not go through that. It's not that I am assuming. They will not go through that. So I'm asking, do you have an idea of how NAFDAC goes about standardizing or regularizing or even punishing these offenders? Because there are some people who actually sell these drugs without NAFDAC number on them. And there are some people that I am sure somehow in my church mind that the number they have on those drugs they're selling are not real.
Yeah. That second concern you raised, it was what I share that sentiment too. This is Nigeria where everything goes. We have the ideal and we have the real, right? The ideal thing to do is to apply for a license, right? You put application to NAFDAC to register your herbal medicines. The process is straightforward. Yeah, seemingly, there are things to do, paperwork here and there, but some places don't go through this. They go through the corners, right? Or I don't know how that works, but some of those items, well, some don't go to NAFDAC at all. Let's say the normal agbo seller. It is people that want to market for the purpose of marketing, right? You need that. But for the average agbo seller, doesn't need marketing. Is also the agbo concoction is marketing itself. So they don't need to do that. They just go and they keep selling. I think NAFDAC has a task force towards that, right? That goes about like a vigilant section to monitor and to put things in place. That is what they are expected to do. But sometimes they can be overwhelmed to how many places in Lagos will you go to will the task force go to, right? So these are some of the issues that we have. But the ideal thing to do is to file for registration and inspection before, and there are different levels also. When you file for that, they come physical where you are producing it. They need to check out. It's up to standard. There are standard operating procedures and there are good manufacturing practices also that needs to be followed. But the concern is that how many of these are being followed. So that's why people have to be very careful, right, with what they buy out there. And if you sense that, you can also report to the appropriate authority. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I hope somebody will be bold or brave enough to report because it's like everybody should mind their business. That's one thing. That's one of the slogans in Lagos. Mind your business. If it is not affecting you directly, they will tell you to face your front. But then somehow this thing will come back to bite us in the behind.
Yes.
And I remember growing up back then in Ondo State, we used to have this thing called, although after a while, I think they were abolished, Wole. So basically, it was this task force where they would go from house to house to check. There were sanitary officers. They came from the many years back before I was born. So the sanitary officers, they would check your house. First, they would check your house. So in case you have a factory that is not even licensed there, that can also be exposed. So I think we need to have more detailed planning when it concerns these things that are involving our health, not just in terms of the drugs and the herbal mixtures. I remember there was a time we talked here about street foods, because these things that we eat every day, some of them do not even have the right, they don't go through the right channels. They use wrong ingredients, not wrong, dangerous, potentially dangerous ingredient. I mean, my guest told me that she heard of people using transformer oil mixed with normal oil to fry akara.
Wow. Wow.
That was the same reaction I had. Simply because it is more viscous and it just increases the volume of the oil. So your oil does not finish on time. And then you were talking, we were talking when we're off air that there was a time people were using paracetamol to cook.
Yeah, to boil meat. Yeah. I heard that. To make it soft on time.
So our healthcare system really needs an overhaul. It needs a revamp. People need to do their jobs. And we say this with all the concern, with all the care, with all the, I don't know, maybe the heartbreak. Health, if you ask me some of the things that should be revamped in Nigeria or should get a lift, I think healthcare will be number one for it, for me.
Yeah, you're right. Because, when you look at, if we have been serious enough, right, we should increase the allocation for health budget in Nigeria, right? At least. So with that, so you can do the job, you can do the total overall that we're talking about. Because that's all what we have. If your head fails, everything else fails. The money you are running, the urgent 2K, you can't even go after that anymore. So people need to ask questions, be knowledgeable. When somebody is giving, even, I like it when people come to the pharmacy, they ask you questions, because some of them before coming, they have Googled. Yeah, I like that. It shows you want to know. It's your right to know. You don't go to your hospital where they will just write something, they won't put the name of the drug. You have the right to know what you are taking. It's also help the doctor, it's help the pharmacy. So we just need a behavioral change towards our health security behavior in Nigeria. Yeah, that's very good.
And that's why we're laying out all this information, so that you are informed, better informed, and you can make better choices. And like he said, that's one very important thing to do too. When you go to your doctor, when you have an appointment, or when you go to the pharmacy, ask what you're being given. It's very important. But then that opens me up to another one, labeling. So I have this message from Charles Chidozie that says one of those items that have been overly marketed is mustard seed. You need to hear those marketers talking about it, and the scary part is how people believe them very fast. There are times that people, we have talked about you checking out what you have on as the ingredient or the content of what you're taking in, be it a drug or a food. But then there is a chance of inaccurate or wrong or misleading labeling. Am I correct? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, is it at the hospital or at what level now?
Now, I'm saying generally, for instance, the herbal portions. Now we know some common food, is it leaves now? For instance, there is, I think dongoyaro extract is one. We know with neem leaf, I think, those things. So we know that on a normal day, they can be beneficial. Yeah. So what if a person puts it as part of an ingredient of a food or a drug or something, and it's not really there, but because they want to drive sales?
Yeah. So that's misleading. There's a possibility of that. Yeah. There's a possibility of that. So those claims, those are claims, right? Those are claims which are not validated, and that's one of the things that I mentioned earlier on also, that they are claims, they are not validated, so you can't accept that. Yeah, that's a likely possibility of mislabeling.
Yeah, that actually was from a personal experience. The truth is, we can go on and on and on about this conversation. It will not end. But as you have seen or as you have heard this morning, everybody is involved. You are involved to a large extent. Please don't mind your business. When you see some things, say it. Please say it. Call the appropriate authorities. And we hope the appropriate authorities actually do their job too. First, let me say it again. Please step up to the plate. Provide funding. Let us have more exploration of alternative medicine in Nigeria. And also, if you're somebody who is in this field, please be more open to embracing science and going through the proper channels. And for you, the consumer, to please watch what you're consuming and putting into your body, because long term, you might not see the effect right now, but you have no idea what is going on within your system. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Peter. I have enjoyed every part of this conversation.
Thank you for having me on this show.
Do you have
Really
any final word?
Well, wash, like you, I'll pick up from what you said. Watch what you take. Very important. Everything that will improve your health. Ask questions. Right? If you have any doubts, ask a pharmacist. That's the surest person you can ask a question about drugs. Ask doctor. Just don't let anybody push anything down on you. Ask questions. Be clear about what you are taking and what you are consuming. And that's my final word. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, just to lay it there, we are not demonizing herbal medicines and potions. We agree they work. We agree that these things have worked from time immemorial. But the problem is with standardization and the dosage. So if you're going to take it, please be concerned or be careful about the quantity you're taking and the mixture. If you're not making it yourself, please be aware of the production and preservation process so that you do not cause a problem or a trouble that was not there before. You're now going to put it into your system. Please be careful. I appreciate you and I care about you. Trust me, if you've doubted that before now, please undoubt it. It's one of the reasons I keep talking about this. So please, again, take care of yourself. We'll be back in the Smooth Explorer segment. I have my guest. She is the one and the only Ego Ogbaro. So you want to stick around to be a part of that conversation. This is Smooth 98.1.
Your number one adult contemporary radio station.
Ain't nobody do it like us.
98. Thank you so much.
This is Tony.
Thank you. I never knew I could. Thank you. And sorry for the slight network challenge. This Nigeria. You just have to.
Not at all. Thank you so much. It was great. We should do this again some other time.
Yeah, thank you. No problem. I'll be free. I'll be free to do that. Thank you.
I'll send the recording. I'll send the link of this thing, YouTube recording to you when I am done with the show later on in the day.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, bye. Yeah.